There's a tiny parasite showing up in America's salads right now, and doctors say it's making hundreds of people seriously sick. It's called Cyclospora, and health officials are scrambling to find the source. But here's the thing. This bug is practically invisible to our food safety system. It can't be washed off, and standard disinfectants don't kill it. So how worried should you be? Today, we're diving into the science, the outbreak, and what you can actually do to stay safe. But first, remember, I'm a bean, not a doctor, so this is not medical advice. If you've been watching the news lately, you've probably seen the headlines. The CDC and health agencies across the country are tracking a Cyclospora outbreak right now. As of mid-June this year, the CDC reports 145 people have gotten sick across 17 states, and 20 of those people have been hospitalized. That's a lot of misery. We're talking about days, sometimes weeks, of relentless stomach issues. The kind of illness that completely knocks you flat. So what exactly is this parasite that's making headlines? How does it even get onto your food in the first place? And most importantly, what can you actually do to keep yourself safe? We're going to break it all down, starting with the very strange biology of Cyclospora itself. So what is this thing we're all talking about? Cyclospora is a tiny, single-celled parasite. We're talking microscopic, way too small to see with your own eyes. It is not a bacteria. And here's a surprising twist. It's also not a stomach bug you can catch from another person. Think of Cyclospora like a tiny, indestructible seed. Just one, invisible to the naked eye, is theoretically enough to make you sick. And that tiny seed has a sticky, armor-like shell that makes it incredibly hardy. Once you accidentally swallow it, it travels to your gut and sets up camp, causing an intestinal infection that can be pretty miserable for weeks. But how in the world does it even get onto our plates? Hey, Bean Buddies! So how does this tiny troublemaker actually end up on your plate? The CDC says it spreads through water or food contaminated with microscopic traces of feces, usually on a farm, where irrigation water carries the parasite onto crops. It mostly hangs out on fresh produce, leafy greens like lettuce, herbs like cilantro and basil, berries, and especially pre-bagged salad mixes. Now, here's the part that really makes me want to hide under a leaf. The FDA says rinsing or washing food is not likely to remove it. Those oocysts are sticky, and they cling to every nook and cranny. And here's another tricky thing. You can't catch Cyclospora directly from another person. The parasite needs days to weeks in the environment to become infectious after being shed. That long delay makes it hard for health detectives to trace an outbreak back to a single source. Next, we'll look at what it does to your body. So you've accidentally swallowed a Cyclospora oocyst. What happens next? For about a week, you feel fine. The parasite is multiplying, but you don't notice a thing. Then the symptoms kick in. It often starts with watery diarrhea, the kind that sends you to the bathroom multiple times a day. Along with that, stomach cramps, feeling wiped out, no appetite, and weight loss. It's not a quick thing either. Some people deal with it for weeks. And here's the tricky part. You might start feeling better, then it comes roaring back. This up and down pattern is classic Cyclospora. Now, I'm a bean, not a doctor, so if you have these symptoms, especially prolonged diarrhea, see a healthcare provider. They can test for it and get you the right treatment. Next, we'll cover how to protect yourself. But remember, this is not medical advice. All right, let's take a deep breath. I'm Benny, and I need to say something very clearly. This video is for general information only. I am not a doctor. I'm a bean, so please don't take anything I say as medical advice. If you have symptoms like watery diarrhea that lasts more than a few days, especially if you feel weak or have lost your appetite, please see a doctor or healthcare provider. According to the CDC, cyclosporiasis is a treatable infection. A doctor can test for it and prescribe the right antibiotics. So if you're worried, get checked out. In the meantime, there are some simple everyday things you can do. Wash your hands really well with soap and water, especially after using the bathroom. Stay hydrated, drink plenty of fluids. And if you're sick, don't prepare food for other people. That helps keep everyone safe. Now, let's talk about how to lower your risk in the first place. So, how do you lower your risk? First, good news, cooking kills Cyclospora. Heat destroys the parasite, so anything cooked or heated is safe. Steamed veggies, sautéed greens, stir-fries, all fine. The worry is raw produce. The CDC advises extra caution with high-risk raw items during an active outbreak. Think of it like buckling your seatbelt, a simple, smart habit, not a reason to panic. Most people will be fine, but if you want to be extra careful, especially in an affected area, you can take a few sensible steps. And that brings us to the big question: which foods are risky right now, and which are safe? We'll break it down next. So while we're in this outbreak, what's actually safe to eat? Let's make this crystal clear. Focus on lower-risk foods. Cooked vegetables, steaming, boiling, roasting, all solid choices. Frozen or canned produce is safe, and fruit you peel yourself, like bananas and oranges, makes the list too. Now here's the other side. Higher-risk foods are raw leafy greens, lettuces, spinach, fresh herbs like cilantro and basil. Also berries, pre-washed bagged salads, salad kits, and those pre-made veggie trays. Remember what the FDA says: rinsing or washing food is not likely to remove it. When we're in a Cyclospora outbreak, these are the foods to be cautious with. Don't panic, just know the risky foods. Cook when you can, and see a doctor if you get sick. That's the playbook. So the takeaway is this: Cyclospora is an invisible hitchhiker, hitching a ride on some fresh produce. The good news? A little knowledge and a good rinse go a long way to keeping it off your plate. If this little bean helped you make sense of the headlines, maybe smash that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow.